afternoon, good morning, and good evening. Wherever you are tuning in to see us, guys, it is such a pleasure to see you here. My name is Irina Litchfield. Many know me as a crypto superwoman, and I'm honored to be a guest host today for Kyle Ellicott. And many know you, Kyle, is just the most brilliant host I have ever seen through all hosts all over the world. And so it's such an honor to try to fit his shoes and have this discussion with you here today. The topic of our conversation today is FinTech and payments, and we have brilliant experts that can really relate to this topic. And so, first of all, thank you so much for tuning in. Keep on watching VCTV. People that are participating here, the panelists that are participating, they're really driven by one thing, to making sure that the innovation moves forward and then the deployment for investors and entrepreneurs continues happening. And of course, thank you, LA Token and VCTV for making this happen. At this point, most of us became a family, and we really love spending time with each other, chatting before the show, and we're here for you, and we are here for each other as well. And so, without further ado, please introduce yourself. Oh, before we go on, today we have a pitch. So I'm really excited to hear the pitch. So we'll have a 40-minute discussion, and then we'll have a presentation from Yale. And Yale also will be participating in our discussion today because he is actually an investor, and now he is launching his first venture as an entrepreneur. So without further ado, Noel, would you launch the introduction, please?
Hi guys, my name is Noel Dracone. I'm the author of the books Winning the Trading Game and Trade Like a Pro. I've been in the investment industry for about 28 years. I started off in the cellular conversion from pagers to digital cellular SMS back in the 2000s. And since then, I've been involved in all aspects when it comes to both entrepreneur as well as an angel investor and hedge fund operator. Right now at Dracone Capital Partners, I work with a lot of startups to help them find investment capital in the Reg D 506C space. We have a database of about 900,000 accredited investors that we introduce them to through various means. I'm also on the board of maccelerator.la, which is a hybrid accelerator incubator model based in Los Angeles. And we have a $15 million venture fund that we're cultivating so we can support up to 300 diverse entrepreneurs and startups over the next 3 years, with the goal to just open up the ecosystem of investing in startups in just a more diverse audience around the world and throughout the United States.
That's such an impressive experience. I mean, it is amazing that you're doing this and you're still finding time to meet here and discuss and support. Thank you.
Say it's a family. We love meeting each other. I'm also, then I'll throw in that I'm also the president of Where Play Games, a mobile app development company that I started based on a patent that I filed for augmented reality and interactivity with clothing. We're deep in the NFT DeFi space and how that integrates with gaming and monetizing gamification.
Yeah, very relevant to our current reality and very interesting. Lubna, would you please introduce yourself?
When I learned how to unmute. Hi, I'm Lubna Dajani. I am a technologist and entrepreneur, a humanitarian, and a huge fan of VCTV. And that's it. There's a lot of us.
A lot of us. And thank you so much. It really is true. It's so wonderful what we're doing here. And thank you, VCTV. I mean, you guys are amazing. I definitely look forward to it. And I was telling my family, I'm kind of a little bit even addicted to it, right? I took a week off because of my ARA gathering, and I kind of felt wrong. It did not feel right. I missed all of you guys, and I was wondering what's going on, and felt like the whole world moved on, right? While I unplugged, which is really interesting effect. I think that it's really amazing, and together we will, when we look back into this year, I think that we will find this year to be extremely productive through this connectivity that we've been able and network that we've been able to create. Yael, would you please introduce yourself?
All right, hi, my name is Yoli Soleil. Greetings from the island of Hawaii. All right, I have been a trader since the mid 1990s. That's been a long time. And in the past 13 years or so, I have been only trading my proprietary money. And along the way of my 20-some year career, I have been in mutual fund management, hedge funds, and most recently, because of various opportunities, I got into some VC investments. So now we're ready to, we have already launched actually. We're managing hedge the pool on a DeFi platform, enabling people, retail investors, and ones of institutional investors to be able to invest in multi-class assets in stocks, futures, stock indices, futures, this kind of derivatives on DeFi platforms with only one Web3 wallet. And meanwhile, the technologies that enables us to do all this, what we call a bridge between Wall Street to the DeFi platform. We plan to open source some of it next year, so more institutional investors can tap into that to get onto the DeFi evolution or revolution, however we classify that. That's all.
Is that what you will be pitching?
Yes.
Okay, so let's wait for that. Don't tell us anymore. Just
Right.
kind of put in your investor head for now, and you'll have time to talk about it. Well, welcome. Sure. Thank you so much. Really impressive experience as well, and I love all the screens you have over there. I've been looking into this and seeing, they're all different. So I do love the trading desks with the full decked out, stuff. So
this is my home office. In my office, a lot more screens, but it's more comfy here.
Yes, that's good. That's good. Well, welcome. Thank you so much. Jose, would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, Irina. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Really love your show as always. My name is Jose Grasa. I've been a serial entrepreneur, essentially building brands a long time in the consumer area. I rolled in later on into technology and have been focused on technology for 20 years now. Specifically in the micro, self-employed, and small companies, built several products with some exits. I had about 6 or 7 exits in my life, all in Europe, never in the US. And I'm really excited to be on your show. And today I'm working on business inclusion, and that's what thrills me every day.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that you keep coming back and you keep reminding and you keep reminding and you keep reminding of what is important and what drives you really, right? It really is encouraging not to just think about just the business itself, but what drives you. And I think we can all relate here that we really love reminding each other of what drives us. And we're really, while we're doing different things in a lot of ways, we're driven by similar things, and that is improving the lives of people all over the world and including them into opportunities. And so thank you for that. Adrian, could you please introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for having me here again. My name is Edwin Niculescu. I'm an entrepreneur and investor involved in a few projects. Cloudcoin Consortium. Cloudcoin is a post-blockchain digital currency. Faster Capital, a Dubai-based accelerator and incubator for companies. I'm a mentor in Richard Branson's Virgin Startups in UK, and happy to contribute today.
Thank you, Adrian. I love that you're in Dubai, and as you guys, I don't know if you guys know, but Dubai Blockchain Week is happened. I believe 11th is when their last day is, and I really love that they're doing it. It's a multi-events day, so it's a multi-days. It's 5th through 11th, and they're moving forward and doing with really good standards, good practices. They're gathering up, and people all over the world are there right now. So it's really great to see that that's happening in Dubai. I'm really looking forward to going there soon. Gary, would you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Sorry I'm late. We actually, from part of my impact stuff, I've taken my artificial intelligence company that I co-founded, Irex, and we now are helping the National Task Force for Missing and Exploited Kids and the District Attorney in New York and Homeland Security. And it's the first ever conference that was done. I just chaired it. And I'm really happy because we're looking at putting cameras in every retailer that's located in the US, starting with the major retailers and convenience stores, to be able to find kids and bring them home. And, you know, everybody talks about facial recognition in the wrong way, but you bring one kid home for the holidays, and there are 800,000 kids that are either sexual trafficked or exploited every year in the US alone. So, you know, it's based on VCTV, by the way, because we've had these conversations, and Noble, we've had it several times. Arena, we've had it. I've actually taken this company and pivoted to go out and worldwide to start working on this challenging problem, you know, to keep kids from being exploited. So anyhow, I'm all hyped up about it. I just got off, and we had 600 attendees at the conference on a Zoom. It was unbelievable. So
Wow, that sounds
Yeah.
amazing.
yeah, it's great. And you guys inspire me. I got to tell you, from all the conversations we've had about making a difference, you know, I work with the Black community. Noble and I have talked about that a few times to help. But this thing with kids, I got sick actually, because I watched Home Alone, and it was like, kids can't have a Christmas. It's like they can't be at their house or the holidays. So anyhow, that's what we're working on today. And I'm getting support some very high net worth individuals and chains of retailers in the US to be able to help move it forward. So anyhow, my name's
Well,
Gary.
let me know how I can help, Gary. Just, you know, I love the passion.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, let's talk about it, Noble, because this is really moving forward quickly. And it's rewarding. You know, it's not just about the money, it's about making a dent.
We're gonna have to schedule another one of these just on that, for real.
I mean, I can bring the top people in the United States. I can bring the White House in, and Biden's White House, or Trump, because it's that big of a deal right now. Yeah.
Well, it's pretty important. It's really good for.
We can do that. I just let me know when I can, I'm happy to schedule the highest level folks in the US to come in. I have a 4-star Air Force general, was a chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and a 2-star admiral was a vice chairman of Joint Chiefs, one under Bush, one under Clinton. It's that level, right? It's really cool. So anyhow,
I love that project, Gary.
It's a national problem, right? And I really appreciate, Gary, that you're inspired and you're using technology to be able to do good. I think that we've been living in this innate kind of assumption that technology is going to come and ruin us, and all these books written about that. But really, nothing is innate by itself, good or bad. It's what we do with it. And we can do so much good implying the technology. And as you said, bringing a child home for whatever reasons is worth it, right? And we can keep building on that. If you doing that will inspire more people do that, and we can create and use innovation to save lives, to better lives, to make our past be kind of like, wow, do you remember in 2018 and 19 or 20, they lived this way? Like, what were they thinking? Don't they understand the true values of life, of technology implementation, of doing business, of growing? And I think we're approaching that reality. So thank you so much. But Gary,
Irina, we were on the show, and we had Noble was on, I believe, Noble, you were on the one. We were talking about impact, right? And I started talking about what we're doing in Atlanta. And literally, and Irina, you were on it was one of the impact episodes. Anyhow, what happened is we started to talk about it, and it was a very simple thing. I said, well, I remember when milk cartons, when you had kids' pictures. I don't drink milk anymore, or rarely drink it, so I don't see it. But I remembered, I said, well, why don't we just take those pictures and put them on the cameras in Walmart or 7-Eleven, and with the pictures of those kids. So if they come in, the police are notified instantly. They can figure it out. This is like pretty simple, right? It's not hard. And I said, I'm not a smart guy. I'm just a country boy. So I said, well, why don't we go to Homeland Security in the White House, and can we get to them and can we help? And sure enough, people coming out of the woodwork. And by the way, some of the people from VCTV who come in stealth mode, that come in as VCs that are really representative of the richest families in the world. One of them was on VCTV, right? One of them is connected with those families, and he was one of the impetus to move it forward. So just so you know, I mean, when you get on VCTV, the partner of Richard Branson, right? I have a call with him tomorrow to get Branson on my show because of VCTV. They're that level contacts. I mean, we're changing the world here. It's amazing. It's a fundamental step forward.
We talked about it yesterday. Visual science is key. This is the push for AI, and you can't get a better use of this than the sexploitation of children, even internationally, globally. It's great.
I mean, it happens so much. It's like crazy. And you get a survivor. We had one of the survivors on the show today I mean, literally when you listen to their story, that's crazy. They get like QR or barcodes on their necks. They actually, seriously, she was in a brothel in Amsterdam. She's from Bulgaria, right? She was innocently trafficked over, and then she couldn't get out because what happens is mentally, you get blocked in. It's not like you're chained up. They don't want to leave. And
also they take away your passports, right? So
they take away your passport and take away your
stuff. To go and find help. Well, guys, we need to have this topic of discussion scheduled specifically, I think, on VCTV. So I'll email.
Yeah, let me know, and I can get some of the top folks in the world. We want to like jazz it up. I'll get Homeland Security. I'll get the White House. I mean, we'll have, we'll get some other rock stars to come in, like you guys, right? To come in and try to put it together. So yeah, let's do it sooner than, let me know the date. And yeah, let me know the date and let me schedule in advance because their schedules are busy, but we'll make a little dent in the universe.
Yes.
One of the investments, Horizon 2020, I am a coach and on the advisory board on the Next Generation Internet Trust Initiative from the Horizon 2020. And one of the companies we've invested in that I was coaching is a deep learning AI for that do real-time video analysis. I think they would be very, very useful in this exercise, actually, and in helping contribute. So maybe they could be a partner to you or something.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Absolutely. Okay, guys. Amazing discussion. I kind of feel, I would like to continue talking about this because it deserves a whole 2 hours at least, right? But we must move on with our topic of discussion, which is FinTech and payments today. We do have a presenter, so we have about 15 minutes left for us to be able to, dive in at least a little bit into the topic of financial technology and payments. And so let's go ahead and address that. Obviously, you guys saw that today Airbnb went public, and how skillfully investment bankers underpriced for the benefit of their clients who are private investors. They benefited from that very well. And so with that in mind, let's go ahead and dive into financial technology and innovation and payments as well. What are you seeing that is kind of the biggest innovation, the biggest opportunities that you see right now when it comes to financial technology and payments as well? Noble, to you, please.
Yeah, but my biggest belief is the non-fungible tokens. We're about to head into a very hairy space on fungibility and what currency means. You have multiple countries kind of jumping in now where their central banks are creating their own tokens. And now there's going to be the battle of, can people make their own currencies, and what that means? Is it truly a loyalty program? Is it a currency in competition? And so now we're going to start seeing the shakeup in that space in a big way. The tax system in the U.S., and particularly with Coinbase, is starting to figure out what basis means in crypto, and people are getting their IRS letters now and figuring out what should they be getting 1099 miscellaneous, or so that whole currency side of it, I believe, is opening the gateway for non-fungible tokens that are more based on a collectible concept, where each token has its own value independent of whether it has a one-to-one correlation. Now, I started trading currencies back in 1996 when, you know, we used to look at tables and we'd have currency pairs hundreds and hundreds long, right? So now that same phenomenon has happened in crypto, and it's untenable for the most part. You know, most people have to understand that you've got to separate the currency aspect of this from the true distributed ledger technology, the DLT aspect, which is far superior to, in my opinion, and the ability to utilize everything to catalog, manage, and be able to have it immutably unmovable, but also to kind of open up the financial sector for people to earn interest. So there's a lot of things that are moving parts. So I love the non-fungible token space. I love the fact that the unbankable in countries where no banks really will ever be coming are starting to gain access to the financial markets. Just my biggest worry is what the major countries are going to do with these competing currencies that are not even, you know, they're not even currencies, they're asset instruments. You know, that's a big issue, and maybe to maintain and control wealth. I think NFTs may be solving that problem.
I agree, and we must evolve ourselves as well in kind of what crypto does and what kind of what your wallet has, right? So I talk about cost-specific offering, and cost-specific offering is designed specifically to support those people or those entrepreneurs who are driven by cause, right? So do you have your nonprofit support token in your wallet? How is it colored? I think that's where we're kind of moving to. It's not about just currencies. And also, you can make your own token, right? So now, can you make your own cryptocurrency? You do need technical expertise in order to make your own currency, because to make your currency, it requires for you to build your own blockchain. But you can make liquid token that people will mistake for cryptocurrency, right? That is, for example, a utility token that is even designed for, not as a securities, but then anybody can, let's say, place it into a decentralized exchange and make a currency out of it. And you're right, it's a mess. We're still trying to finalize and figure out how it works. But when it comes to financial technology, it's undoubtful that we must have decoupling from cryptocurrencies and into the tech as well. And I do believe that at end of 21, we will start seeing decoupling. I think that once we separate performance of blockchain companies and valuations of blockchain companies from the performance of Bitcoin, we will see really true adoption of this technology as well. And it just has to happen. So thank you for saying that. And non-fungible tokens, it's hot right now. Everybody loves that, and we're trying to figure out how to deal with that. And then it empowers artists. I mean, how beautiful that it is. We finally can empower artists. We can give them tools to fund their work and to really imprint into reality of painting, right? Because if your painting is burned, you can have it in a digital way in your wallet, and you can be the only one who has it. You can break it up in pieces and all that. So fractionalized ownership. Gary, what is your input on basically financial technology, innovation, and payments, and really specifically with an application of AI? How can we right now benefit state of our financial technology through AI technology.
Yeah, so I mean, uh, it's funny because we were talking about post-pandemic. We've been talking about it during the show, but in reality, we're in the heart of it, right? This is a record levels of COVID in the United States today. So, I mean, we're in a situation where, going into a bank is not simply an option anymore. It's very, very difficult, even with my private banker, to get in to talk to them. So we've got to fundamentally shift the way that, from a banking perspective, things work. So what kind of things are really important for us? So we need to look at how to be able to serve the customers better. Things like chat box, right? To be able to come up with the answers. Because I don't know about you, but it's really, really hard to get a bank to respond. Even my private banker is even tough. I mean, I complained a little bit, but I didn't want to see him get fired. But it's like, he's not good. So we've got to come up with a better way to service us, and then a better way to be able to offer us different types of products. So based on where we are, and loans, a loan shouldn't take 2 weeks. A loan should take seconds, right? It's not that big a deal. So look at your credit scores, look at how much money you have in the bank, understand your circumstances, search the web. This is not, this is like 101. This is a rocket science. So that's door number 2. And the other thing is, in terms of where we are with the FinTech, we better start focusing on how to be able to defend ourselves a lot better than today, because now as quantum's coming up, and I was just quoted in a quantum article yesterday, cybersecurity, it's just, we had better start to prepare today, because nothing good's going to happen if we don't. I can see sometime that each country has their own quantum defense force. It's going to be like Space Force, which you like, Irina, but we'll have a quantum force. And the quantum force is going to be like Megatron or something. And, I don't want to do my Autobot imitation, but essentially, come in, and we got to make sure that we're able to respond effectively, because our lives are going to fundamentally change. They're right. Tokens across borders, currencies that currently exist today. You're right. Digital currencies. Of course, countries are going to be against it because they don't want to lose their power, but it's going to happen. Then the question is, as we've talked about many times, having your wallet. Do you want to have your wallet out there and chance of somebody be able to steal all your money and never be able to get it back? So I think that where we are today, somebody's got their child there. So where we are today is we need to get to the point where we're actually, the banks have been really slow in financial services in keeping up. And so what we need to do is we need to just become more state of the art. So hyper-personalization, chat box, efficiency in the system, cybersecurity are all key topics that we need to look at now. And quantum computing, literally, we better start to address it, because when it comes and it's widely deployed, nothing good's going to happen if the bad guys get it, or bad ladies.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because people think it's just so far away and it's so expensive. And, if it happens, it's going to be a gradual process. And I agree with you 100% that when it happens, it's going to be life-shattering experiences. And so how do we prepare ourselves for that, I think, is really important. And it's interesting what you said for banking, that hyper-personalization, that ability for you to have interaction with your banker, that understands you, that knows you, right? And that basically with AI, you can have that relationship, that hyper-personal relationship.
That's that's what I want. I don't want my personal banker. I want a hyper-personalized banker that's AI, that will answer the questions and be able to help me navigate the system, because my banker takes too long. I don't want to wait an hour to get a response back. I want to get it back now.
Yeah, and we are so hyper-personal as well. What you said about loans is so true. If AI understanding and knowing interesting nuances about your life, about your performance, about everything that would be really hard for you to, to explain to a regular person, a complex data can be analyzed and decision can be made relatively quickly, right? Without you having to have that back and forth. And
Yeah,
all,
exactly. Look at a
yeah.
home loan. I mean, and why does it take, if you're going to buy a house, does it take 6 weeks? It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand when you do a physical inspection, that's one thing, but the rest of the process is insane. It should never take that long. It's got like, hello, this is how much money I make. This is my situation with my credit card debt. Like, look it up. I give you permission to be able to do it. You should be able to come back in an hour, you know, and once the inspection is done and say, hey, the money's in your bank. It's crazy.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Gary. Jose, your input on financial technology and payments. I know that you're really driven by making sure that people are underbanked, are banked all over the world. And in US, we don't really have that as a big problem, but outside of US, the world is really suffering with kind of the lack of the finance infrastructure to support them. So what are you seeing that is kind of the hardest and best?
So, first of all, I agree with a lot of things that Gary said, and also with Noble. There are quite some interesting things. So, the way I see this like this: first of all, bankers, right? They stepped out of their zone that they should be operating. Bankers are here to secure that our money is safe and give us loans, not giving us toxic products or things that we don't understand, especially not to those who are, you know, not knowledgeable people. And this has been a very big problem, you know, for the, I would say even for the last 100 years, that people basically are pushed to a lot of products, financial products, like a merchant that they don't understand and they believe in their banker, right? And in the end, the outcome is what we all know. So that's one thing. I strongly believe that with quantum computing, bankers have a role to play. And that role, in essence, is because all that cash that they spend today, right, on technology, should be spent, in essence, a huge amount of that money is spent on securing people's accounts. But definitely it should go into that direction and secure people's money. Now, I think, and I'm sorry for saying you that you underestimate what's going in the US. The US is not an exception of what I call business inclusion. In fact, the US, right, brings to the market a close down of about 80% of all the startups every year. So there are countries like Ecuador, for example, 95% of all companies close down in the first year. This is a massive problem, not to underestimate in any country, not even in the US. Now, it's not a problem that they are unbanked. The problem is that they don't have the knowledge and they are not able to get to any funds. So there needs to become another type of solution that enables these gentlemen to become successful. So the way I see today, financial technology, in essence, is like this. Financial technology, or every technology, should be here to serve populations, to make their lives more comfortable, more easier. And that's where I look at it all the time. And I sometimes feel that people forget that we are all together, Gary, Gail, Irina, myself, we are all part of this economy. We're all a deliverer things to the economy, and we're all consumers. So it's about us. And the financial payments industry or the technology, it's also about us. So it's time to understand that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You're right. Most of the startups do fail, but by nature, that's what they're supposed to do, right? Most of ideas are overridden, and while entrepreneurs, and I believe that strongly, while entrepreneurs all think that they're the smartest and best in the world, there are probably thousands of others that are kind of executing and going for that idea. You know, so while funding is important, you know, it, by nature, early startups take an idea and making a product out of it, you know, it's hard and it's not easy. And no technology in the world is going to make that easier, because as soon as we give them more opportunities to fund, we'll have more people coming in that are going to be failing. And by nature, it's fine. You start a company, you fail, you start next company, you fail, and then you start next company, and then bam, you're doing good, right? So it really is a multiple, entrepreneurship is a multiple entry journey, and failure is one of the most important lessons you can learn to advance yourself. But we do need better technology. You're right. It's really outdated and it's hard to get funding and it's so expensive. I mean, it's just so unreasonably expensive. We can make it so much cheaper. So maybe entrepreneurs wouldn't fail when they do because they ended up spending so much money on fundraising. You kind of end up spending most of your stuff on fundraising, right? It's unbelievable. So thank you for sharing that. Adrian, what about you? I know that you're involved with a couple of things. So what do you think is current state of evolution? What is the top of the evolution for financial technology and payments?
I would like to address something which I addressed also in other editions, but I don't want to repeat myself. It was a news under the radar, very important for this market, for the fintech market, that during November this year, Revolut broke even because Revolut was seeing like a big fintech company, but burning money like crazy. And they found a way. They had a 40% decrease in revenue at the beginning of pandemic, but after that they pivoted some things and had an increase of 50% in revenues from multiple streams, and they broke even. This is a great signal to the market and a very good news for the UK fintech market. And I'm looking forward to see what is happening, because I'm focusing all the time on sales, revenues, and profitability. And I'm a little bit obsessed by that because I'm a marketer. If I don't sell, I don't eat. And saying in a very obscure manner and very brutal one. So it's great news for the industry.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. Often news from abroad don't really kind of make it to us or people pay attention to it, but it is very important, especially for Europe. FinTech is tracking a little bit behind for Europe, so making kind of a breaking even is very important for any company. Lubna, what about you? What are your thoughts on the current state of financial technology and payments evolution?
I think it's a great time. There's a lot of disruption, and it's about time. And much of it was talked about in the earlier session. I think I'm working with one company that is doing quantum security, which is pretty cool. And it will be, to my fellow speakers, a very important ingredient in the formula for the next generation of applications. I'm finding it's interesting to see the central banks and how we move to digital currency. And how we regulate and how we manage. So hopefully it does not become, so it becomes a liberator and provides added access, and how we will ensure access to this technology at scale. And with it comes identity. You know, digital identity comes together, part of the package. My concern is how are we going to handle it such that it is an enabler and not another leash, and to create kind of controls. But I'm very excited about some of the community inclusion currencies and enabling liquidity at a community level as a independent of the state of the economy in the country or in society at large, because it facilitates liquidity in the community so that they can continue to thrive despite. And I think there will be a lot of value in that.
Thank you. Quantum security. I just really love that idea. I do know that there are companies that are working on that, and that proactive thinking is so important. It's just really, really wonderful. I worry about quantum, and then I know people are working on solving those problems. So it's like, which, do we get smacked in the face with it, or do we actually kind of arrive as we are ready and evolve? So I vote on the second one. We will not be getting smacked. Well, that's my hopes. Really quick, dear speakers, let's basically, what's the best way to find you, and what are you most excited? One financial technology innovation that will change the world, that you think that will be upcoming, and that is kind of a that you're looking at right now, and that's also your the best way to find you, and what do you think the revolutionary technology that will change the way we live our lives when it applies to financial technology? Noble, to you.
It's easy to find me on LinkedIn, Noel Dracone, and I believe. And you can also find me on Twitter @Dracone, which is my last name on the screen. I'm because we're so deep in gaming, I really am sold on the NFTs and the ability for millennials to finally develop an asset set for themselves. There's not they lack consistent job, consistent work. They up until now they've had a few prospects to own homes and to accumulate assets. And really, the idea that the NFTs are able to create wealth independent of what the actual underlying currencies are, I believe has an opportunity to be able to create the loans and create the CD products and really fuel DeFi in a big way. That millennials will be the driving force for the future of DeFi. It's good being here. Good seeing you guys.
Yes, it's good to see you and have you as always. Lubna, what about you?
I agree with what Noble said, and I'm a big fan of further adoption of smart contracts and self-sovereign identity type technologies, and zero knowledge proofs, and the different things technologies that are evolving, and standards that are evolving now, ethical AI standards that are evolving now. And this is a most important time to start engaging more and more, especially in these standard bodies where you can influence the direction of the technology. You don't have to be a paying member. So don't leave it to the big guys who can afford to send teams and influence the standards. This is the time to do it. So that opportunity is there. Yeah, so I'm very, very excited about quantum computing because the larger the surface, the more connectedness we have, the larger the surface, and the more aware we are of the value of this data, because this isn't new that we have data. We've always been processing data. It's just there's a lot more data that we're processing, and there's a lot more data about the technologies and the channels that we have set up to facilitate that. And the combination is extremely powerful. So quantum technologies are very important. And will have a place. As I spend some more time digging into deep fakes, because I'm so busy wanting to play with how we're going to fix the world. Deep fakes are really, when you think about that technology, it's enormously powerful. So I'm excited and very cautious of the applications that are and how we'd incentivize. So I'm hoping that we would be better incentivized for social well-being. I'm Lubna Dajani at anything, practically, from LinkedIn to Twitter. And hopefully I'll see a lot more of you here on VCTV. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Jose, to you.
Thank you, Irina. Well, for me, it's quite simple. For me, 2021 and the technology that will make it next year is that technology that's going to be a solution for at least 40 million people on the globe, and will make happen that every 2 people in every 10 can build the business that they want as a dream, and not being limited to raising funds. So the idea is that they're able to build that dream without raising the funds.
I muted myself. And what's the best way to find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, on the Jose Graca or BizMoney, either way. And please, you're welcome to contact me.
Yes.
Or
Thank
here
you.
on VTV.
Yes, VCTV. You can always go to VCTV website and see all speakers' profiles and connect us to all of us there. So I think that's really the great way to know. If you really love what we're doing on VCTV, just go and get hold of us through there, because it will allow them, I hope, see that there's the traffic coming through our profiles. So I do appreciate that. And what about Yale? What is your closing thoughts? Well, what do you think is the revolutionary technology is, and what is the best way to get hold of you?
Okay. I'm on LinkedIn and Twitter all by my last name, because I have quite a unique last name. I'm the only one there. And technology-wise, as I say, DeFi is here to stay. On-chain transactions, inclusive transactions is here to stay. But it is at such a chaotic, very early stage. DeFi trading doesn't even really happen yet. We are making a contribution to make that happen. And also, this is also the reason why so many projects are being hacked on a weekly basis. But we will be there. 2 to 3 years from now, DeFi, when we're talking about it, will be totally beyond what we're talking about today. Yield farming, flash loans, lending, all of those. NFT, like Noble mentioned, will be a huge part of that. And the trading, financial transaction trading profits will be a major part of that. That's how we see it.
I agree with you 100%. Decentralized finance will just become a finance and our reality, and it will be regulated and properly executed and safer, and it's just a part of natural evolution. Now, there will be some mistakes that will be down the line, and some people who are not understanding what happens will go through trouble. So that's why it's so important to have a traditional finance expertise when we're thinking about the evolution of this market, because we need that expertise. So thank you for doing that, and for participating and looking forward into the future. Adrian, what about you?
From the technology point of view, I'm very excited about the post-blockchain technologies like radar. And from the operational point of view, I'm very excited to see which will be the companies which will issue the new payment standards, so the new Visa, the new MasterCard, the new American Express. And I can bet that they will come from the very creative crypto world. And I'm excited to see which are those that hopefully I will be able to place some bets in those directions.
Yes, good. And what's the good way to find you?
On LinkedIn, that one is my my main communication hub. Also, I have a profile on LA Token and VCTV. Very humble to see that, and I say I'm surrounded by greatness. So it's there are some amazing people there, and happy to be here and to come back anytime to contribute to this amazing educational project, which is compressed on the sessions on VCTV and LA Token.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And you're right, it is really highly educational. I personally learned so much during each of our conversation. And that's very important in the age of information, having that ability to connect with each other and learn not from the news is kind of one of the golden things that we carry out from networking. And this is our virtual networking. And so thank you so much for your time. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for moving forward the innovation and the world and dedicating your time to being part of these conversations. Each one of you are doing an amazing job, and I encourage you to continue with your journey and to stay connected, and together we make better reality, and together we are now living in a now moment, and it is no longer the future that we are seeking. I think that really truly believe that we're transitioning into a space where we're concentrating on making the world a better place right now for ourselves, because as we do that right now for ourselves, that's what our children and future generations are going to encourage. We no longer need to chase the future, and by taking steps to connecting to each other, to dedicating our time, we are doing exactly that. So much time, so many times I hear that this happened because we did this on BCTV and we're doing this now. And Gary is a great example, and Gary using his company, pivoting into saving children from horrible experiences, from shattering. I mean, saving one child from that experience can create hundreds of people's of happiness, right? Because the train of a destruction, it's not just a one person's life, it's a family, it's the community, it's their future children and all of that. And so thank you for taking active steps. And entrepreneurs that are watching, please make sure you pitch, make your pitch deck, pitch to us, reach out. And remember, it doesn't have to be a crypto project. We want to see, we want to see what you're doing, and expose yourself. It's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody expects you to be perfect. And investors, join our network. Log in just one time a week, one time a month, whatever it is. Reach out to us, and we are happy to welcome you to our family, and together we will make our reality better. And with that, thank you so much, BCTV, for your continuous dedication to expanding the topics of innovation and technology, to empowering us to talk about the subjects that we maybe often don't think about, and zooming out into a big picture of the world. What is the world of innovation technology looks like for us right now, and how we can prepare it to better lives of people all over the world. And thank you, Olay Token, for making this possible, for supporting BCTV and giving them the independence to be their own entity and to promote a great networking. It's such a great leadership step that you are taking. And so with that, thank you so much for your time. I'll see you guys soon, and please keep on dedicating your time, your attention, and most importantly, your work to doing what you're doing. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.